Hi, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Banter and Beans, where we're asking the question, what's brewing in Montpelier? Joining me in studio today is Amy LePage, who is the owner of Emerge with Amy LePage. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm learning so much about downtown Montpelier. Amy and I were just talking that you don't realize how many businesses are on the second and third floor that they don't have sidewalk access. And there's so many of them. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and a little bit about your business?
Yeah. So my name is Amy LePage, and my business is Emerge with Amy LePage. And I used to be on Elm Street, further down near Elm and Spring. So technically not really downtown. And it felt like not downtown.
Right.
But the flood came, and that office was no longer usable, which then meant that myself and the office mates I shared it with, we then were seeking somewhere else to be. And so I actually now am downtown, and I'm right on State Street. I'm on the third floor of 15 State Street, and it actually feels really different to be physically in the downtown.
Where the action is,
Where
right?
the action is, yeah. And it's really fun, and so it is good to be.
That's great.
Downtown.
So you were really impacted during the flood at your other location?
Yes.
Were you able to save anything or bring anything with you?
Yeah, we were able to save some things, and because I am like in a service-oriented business, I don't have things I sell, I offer service as well, but so wouldn't lose a lot in terms of that, but definitely, like massage table, bolsters, things like that for sure was lost. Yeah.
Well, you were lucky to find some more space though.
Definitely, and there was definitely an interim, which was lovely because it was a lot of community outreach of other practitioners who had space, and so I communicated with one, and they were like, "Absolutely, come. Here's the days it's not in use. Use it." So that was so helpful. So within like a week and a half, I think to 2 weeks, I was able to start seeing clients again.
Oh, nice.
Few.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, and then since then, I have then now moved to this place.
Oh, okay. So you were able to participate in some of the funding donation collections, like from Montpelier Alive and
well, I didn't actually partake in that, but there were other resources that were there.
A lot of people had what do they call it? Crowdsourcing, when people donate through
like a GoFundMe or something.
Yeah, GoFundMe. Thank you. That's it.
Didn't do that either.
Oh, well, you did very well for yourself.
We had people come and just like help and clear everything out and gut the place and help the landlords with that, and then we because we didn't have a lot of loss of physical actual product we were trying to sell. It was more just personal, and there was some coverage through insurance.
That's good,
which was really helpful.
Right.
Yeah, and I think because I felt like I could within like a couple weeks start to see clients again.
You felt better.
It kind of felt like I was going to be okay, and there were definitely other places that needed more.
Hopefully on the third floor you won't have to worry about that again.
That is. The only thing that happened with some other, I can't even remember, other water issues since then was that the elevator was not usable for like a week or two.
Oh, right.
While they waited for the water to drain from the basement, but like that was all it was. So,
yeah, that's good. I'm glad for you. That's good because some of the stories are pretty unnerving for sure. And a lot of people took out, not a lot, but some people took out loans and COVID.
Right.
And then they had to turn around and take out, and I mean, how much debt can you take on?
Yeah.
And they really struggled.
Yeah, COVID was interesting. And so everything I do is like person-to-person based to teach. At some point I'll explain what.
Yeah, well,
what
we'll get there. We'll get there.
But it is like one-on-one in person or group setting in person. And so there was an immediate shift, to Zoom and figuring out how does that work and getting tech to work and all of that. And then definitely some of the federal and state programs helped with that.
I've gotten used to Zoom. I sort of like it.
Yeah, I still use it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Just you don't even have to get dressed up. As long as you're dressed up from here to your head, you're in good shape.
Exactly.
So that's good. So let's talk about your business.
Yes.
Because it's called Emerge.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
So Emerge with Amy LePage, and it to me symbolizes that basically like it's helping yourself grow. And for me, I have two kind of paths that I work with, two threads. And one of them is kind of started out with therapeutic yoga, and then that has shifted to something called somatic movement and somatic body work. So there's that one thread. And then the other thread is working with people who are either in pregnancy or preparing for birth or postpartum and caring for baby. So I have these two threads, and there is some interweaving between the two.
Can you explain somatic a little bit? Because I was reading it on your website, and I thought, oh, there's a word I don't know.
It is becoming more and more heard of recently. So basically, the somatic piece is that there is, I think of it as the ability to start to learn more about oneself and to start to notice like internal things, like how do I feel actually in this moment? Some kind of stress arises or anxiety arises. How does my body actually respond to that? What shifts in my breathing? Where am I holding tension? So there's that kind of layer. So it's sort of like just becoming more and more aware of oneself as you kind of move through daily life. And then that also can translate into some of the practice with that is called like neuromuscular re-education. And so it's basically doing things that are body and brain based to help the body either shift through if there's been an injury or a surgery or just overuse patterns through what you might do for work, that sort of thing. So there's like a learning how to help oneself actually just feel better in their body, in their breath, and in interaction with life.
That's great. Now, you mentioned a massage table. Do you do massages or?
Great question. So I do body work, and I'm not working with like what people may think of as massage. So I do have a massage table. People stay clothed and they wear comfortable clothing that's like easy to move in. And there is hands-on work that is involved in it. So there is touch involved. And I will work with, it's kind of called work with soft tissue, hands working with the muscles and fascia of the body. But I also will do movements of the body as well. And then also will teach people about breathing as we work together, and then also help them bring in some movements to just basically explore their body as well. Again, helping with where they might be holding tension or strain or have pain in their body.
Well, you mentioned the mind, and I learned a very good lesson I did a Reiki session one time. The hospital was offering it, and I found they don't touch you, but most of the relaxation stuff comes, you do it, the brain, because they're asking you to think about here, and all of a sudden you're feeling better. And it's amazing if you can control it, what the mind can do for you, right? Well,
do you want to try a little something?
Now?
We're not even going to stand up. We're just going to be right
I'll do that, sure.
Anybody at home watching can do
Okay, do it.
So just as a thing, we're not even going to see what we're doing, but just start to wiggle your toes. And whether you have shoes on or not, just wiggle your toes, move your ankles, and see if you can just actually pay attention to what that feels like. So we're trying to just get quiet enough and slow down enough to actually notice, oh, that's what scrunching my feet feels like. That's what spreading my toes feels like. Or you might notice, I actually can't spread my toes. They're not spreading.
Why is that?
And so with this, just simply something like that is just sort of a practice of let's pay attention to a part of our body. Let's pay attention to the sensation of movement. And let's start to pay attention to this idea of noticing or feeling. You could think of it as feeling that sensation of movement. And I often think about our feet as if we are standing, walking around, and like, that is how we connect to the ground, to the floor. And another way that you can explore with this is simply to just kind of move one shoulder and then the other.
I'm starting to feel it, or it's like, oh.
So if you're just slowly moving one shoulder and the other, oftentimes that's where we tend to hold tension. Right? And so if we're just even giving ourselves the opportunity to have some gentle, repetitive movement, it can start to release some holding patterns. We might even notice that, oh, I just actually took a breath and actually exhaled. So just kind of as some like real short examples of what some of the movement
If you really just focus, it works. That's great. I was told one time that if I try to relax my tongue, your whole, and if you do, I do that a lot at home. I just stop and you just really concentrate on relaxing your tongue. The next thing you know, the whole body's going. It's really amazing.
Yeah,
you know.
the tongue is like such an interesting muscle in the mouth. And part of what I do is also work with people on learning more about their pelvic floor muscles, which are in the pelvis.
Right.
And the tongue, face, mouth is directly related with the pelvic floor muscles as well.
Oh, interesting.
And so there's a lot of exploration you can do around like other parts of the body that can help with releasing.
That's great. Cool.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I feel like, oh, take me away.
Yes.
It's nice, so nice to find a way to relax. Because I don't think, I sometimes say I'm not nervous, but if I stopped, I'm tight, like really tight, and it's good to relax. You don't even know you're in trouble, I think.
Yeah, and I think what's important, one of the ways that I think makes what I offer unique is that it's just knowing that we are going to get wound up. There's no way it's not going to happen. So the goal is to never not feel distress in that way, but it's to have the tools to be able to recognize and then to regroup and then to adjust.
You mentioned people that are pregnant and postpartum.
Yeah.
Speaking of pressure and nerves, I mean, they must really benefit from getting relaxed and understanding what's happening and what's coming.
And also like having a chance, especially after pregnancy and birth, and their nervous system, their baby's in nervous system, and whoever is there, like within that family unit, and like we're all like bouncing off each other. So having ways to learn how to understand what's happening.
I'm not sure how many people have a real support system either at home. My daughter was fortunate. I was there, and my mother was there for me. And I told you before, back when I had my daughter, 5 days, they didn't even think about sending you home before 5 days. Now it's 24, 48 hours, and you're out of there and in charge of
taking care of this human being.
Little baby.
Yeah, I definitely in my childbirth education classes, yes, we talk about birth per prep, but I definitely have a whole section where we're talking about and exploring and thinking about questions around, well, what is it like to then be taken care of?
Right.
And navigating all that brings, so that there is time ahead of time to...
Do the husbands or fathers come with the women?
Definitely, partners can come. And again, like my classes are really trying to welcome in and bring in and meet any family configuration that's out there. So coming in and, the classes I do like to be able to really help whoever the support people are to know how to be helpful in the process, and also really do a lot of talking around what are your circles of support beyond whoever might be immediately in the family.
So Amy, how did you select Montpelier as your home base for?
Well, I live in East Montpelier, and so I liked the location and the closeness for it, and I think also, I have worked a couple times at different places farther afield, and it just also felt like really helpful in my own family and life situation to not have to travel too far afield.
Right. And do you notice that the streets have the same footprint? I mean, are there the same number of people downtown? I know a lot of people are concerned that hasn't gotten back to where it should be or they'd like it to be.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, I think, because I said prior I wasn't even downtown, so there's 0 foot traffic.
Well, that's true. Don't have anything
so
to reference.
For that.
Right.
However, I will say also I'm not like a regular retail store. I don't have hours where you can just come in. There's always it's appointment based or class time based.
Right.
So that is interesting in and of itself. So even some of the things that are happening downtown, Flannel Friday, Cabin Fever, this and that, it's like I have to be a little bit more creative of how can I partake so that people actually...
Is today Flannel Friday?
I think this Friday
This Friday. Oh, this Friday. Excellent.
Yeah.
I got to remember. Amy, Montpelier Live just does so much for everybody, and they're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, which I thought was cool. And Katie just, I don't know where she gets the energy, but she's very, very clever, very, she's got all kinds of ideas about how to bring people down, which is why we're trying to do this. We're open for business. So come on down, people. And I'm sure, gift certificates to for the holidays. What a perfect gift. for somebody.
There's gift certificates, there's online classes that you can pre-record.
Oh, you have online classes.
Yep,
Oh, talk about that a little bit. We just have a few minutes.
Yeah, well, I offer some somatic movement, which if you're like, what does that mean? It's gentle therapeutic movement that is going to help you feel better in your body. I do that via Zoom on Tuesday and Thursday mornings.
Yep.
You can come in person to the Tuesday morning one, and I offer a number of different classes, but the hands-on individual work that I do for the body work sessions as well. And you can sign up online for those, and I do also offer gift cards.
Do you find, I'm looking at myself, thinking age, are there older women or younger, or is it a mix of when you're stressed, and doesn't much matter how old you are?
Kind of doesn't matter how old you are. And
so you've got a mix of older and younger people?
And with my, especially with my private sessions, I've worked with some teen-aged ages and upwards. And again, whoever you are, however you live in your body, are all, all welcome.
Well, I can tell from your voice and that you make it very calm and relaxing for people, which I can tell would be a very good, safe place to be.
Yeah.
Which, and you share your space with other people, or?
I do share my space, and so again, it's 15 State Street, and I share it with another, well, it's not like a company, but it's called the Everything Space. There's two people, and we share then our space. So my space,
that's very smart to do.
There, and then this other one as well.
There's quite a few people in Montpelier that are doing that shared space, which I always think is just so you can share the common things that you have in common. If you have somebody to make reservations or do that kind of office stuff, and then you do your thing.
Yeah,
that's great. Good for you. Could you tell folks where about your website, and maybe we can get them to check you out?
Definitely. So I can be found at www.emergewithamylepage.com, and my email is info@emergewithamylepage.com. Those are the best ways, as I'm choosing not to be on social media.
Oh, that's a bold move.
It is.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I have a couple of friends that have given it up because I must admit I'm a little addicted.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, what is this doing for me?
It has been lovely not having it.
Yeah, right. Good for you. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, thank
you. I wish you luck and go downtown.
Yes.
Yes, come on down. Thank you, Amy, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is your host, Pat McDonald, for Banter and Beans, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.